appeal. Appeal is very important because in order for people to buy into your services, buy into whatever it is that you're offering, they need to buy into you. I tell people that clothing it's not just in fashion, just pieces of material. No, these are tools of communication.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Deep Dive Sessions. My name is Apomo Taurira. Thank you for stopping by. We are back at it again with some great content. And today in the building, we have an astute coach, a consultant, a personal branding expert, somebody in the space of image consulting, a business etiquette management coach. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome to the show, Nonofo, Jesse. How are you doing?
Thank you for having me. I'm great. Thank you.
Awesome. I'm very excited, obviously. I told you, I'm excited about this conversation. Hey,
Looking forward.
Okay, but before we start, I met you on LinkedIn. Mm-hmm. I just looked at your content. I was like, yay, this is serious. I'm just going. I'm like, yeah, she knows what she's doing here. Yeah. She knows because for a long time, I will admit, I was afraid to get on LinkedIn. In fact, I actually just started getting on LinkedIn probably like March this year. I would look at LinkedIn and see guys my age with 3 degrees, and I'm like, whoa, what's going on, guys? And so I started just like researching different people on LinkedIn, what people are posting, just so that I can find my feet. And I came across your content. So that's actually a big factor of why, we really wanted to have a conversation with you. But today we're speaking about image management, business etiquette. How did you find yourself here?
Oh, Ampo, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure. And I always look forward to such engagements.
Yes.
How did I find myself in the image management and business etiquette space?
Yes.
I think for me, because those are two parts, the image management part started when people would reach out to me, people would walk up to me and say, ma'am, we like the way you're putting yourself together. So can you help me with how, to package myself? And I was like, so there's actually something to this. So that's when I started paying attention to that.
Oh.
And then with business
how far back
etiquette,
is that?
This is 2014, 15.
Cool.
Yes.
Hey, you've been in here, eh? You've been in here. It's like 10 years.
And then with business etiquette, so I've worked in several organizations. I then realized that there was a certain way one ought to handle themselves and navigate the work environment that they found themselves in. One of the things that I do, and I wasn't really proud of, is that I laugh loud. And I laugh with my mouth open, and I'm loud sometimes. And I then realized that in certain environments, it is not a welcomed thing. And I was like, okay.
How should we laugh then?
You need to observe the environment that you're in. Okay. For instance, you're in a high-profile meeting and so forth. Yes, there are certain things that are going to tickle you. There are certain things that are going to be funny. But you need to be mindful of the people that are within the environment and what kind of caliber of meeting you are attending. So you handle yourself accordingly. You don't overlap. Even now, I also realize that there's a certain way you'd be expected to show up in terms of your dress code, in terms of how you'd communicate, what kind of language you use, even in terms of just so many things that we're going to get into. Mannerisms, your demeanor, your non-verbal cues and so forth. And I realized, okay, so different environments call for different things. So that's when I now started delving much deeper in understanding what business etiquette was. And because I saw a need in my own life, I studied it so that I then can help other people who are in the same boat as I was.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Yo, so we should laugh with our mouths closed.
Not really.
Tip number one. Yeah, okay. Okay, so how did you then start navigating the space? You spoke about, okay, you realized 1, 2, 3 things about yourself. Because already, I mean, you were dressing okay. Well, so you had that. You had that already handled. It was probably just what you said. And so how did you then start, getting into that space and being like, okay, I help people doing this?
So I'm an HR consultant. That's one of the hats that I wear. So how do I engage with people? I engage with people from interviews, recruiters, rather through the talent acquisition process. So that is from receiving people's applications because there's etiquette that needs to be observed at that level.
Right.
There's etiquette that is also observed at now the interview process. And also when now you're joining in within an organization, there's a way an organization runs, and there are certain expectations from people who join organizations to handle themselves in a certain manner. So I then saw etiquette in terms of those touch points, different touch points in an employee or rather a candidate's life cycle. So then I was like, okay, as I interact with people, I'm able to notice certain gaps in people's lives, because I noticed that some people were losing out on opportunities because of how they did not observe certain things. So you'd find I was like, no, I need to help my countrymates. I need to help people to be able to get the kind of opportunities that they are looking for so that they can also improve their livelihood. Because sometimes...
Can you give us an example of that? Of how you saw, okay, people, this person, like the things that they were doing that were making them lose those opportunities?
Firstly, let's start at the application. So where there's application etiquette, you need to be able to put together an application that communicates what it is that you want, isn't it? So ensuring that grammatically, formatting-wise, that's on point, so that you are delivering that to the eyes for the consumption of another person.
Right.
So if this is not looking okay, and it takes roughly a few seconds for one to put their eyes on your document, on your application, and then for them to conclude that this person is not serious. That sort of thing. You are applying for a job that requires a person to have attention to detail skills. And then your application documents do not show that.
Yeah.
What does that say?
Already a red flag.
Already, that's a red flag. So these are things that people do not pay attention to, that as you are applying or as you're looking for opportunities, what is the call for the people who are going to put their application forward?
Right.
So you ought to be aligned even in terms of how you're going to package what it is that because that is the first point of contact with the people that are going to be,
interacting
with you, your audience rather. Yes. And then when we get to the interview stage, first impressions matter. Never take it for granted.
Yes.
Because you can say, okay, fine, I want to dress however I want to dress. But the thing about it is that we are looking for opportunities, and those opportunities are at the mercy of other people to give them to us.
Right.
So it's of importance, great importance for you to recognize the environment that you're seeking opportunities at, and then aligning yourself with how they do things. If that is something that is in alignment with you. So if not, then look for opportunities and places and in things that are aligned with you, because that way then you would not find or feel that there's an incongruence. You see, and that's what I see people doing sometimes, because then you'll go to an organization where you feel that they're uptight in their dressing or what have you, and now you want to come all relaxed and all casual and what have you. Go to a place that speaks to you.
To that.
So that now when you come in, you're not seen as if you are out of place.
You're not a black sheep.
You're not a black sheep in essence, because it's not just about this because this speaks to the culture as well. That's something I think we will talk about more as we go along. So you find that if there's a misalignment in that speaks, you are not considerate. You're not looking at the consideration of appropriateness from your end. And that is a red flag in terms of just etiquette as well. So you need to take certain things into consideration. That's why some people are finding it difficult to merge, or rather to ease into certain organizations, because they didn't do that research on themselves and on the organizations very well to see if at all there was an alignment, because that's very important. That's very key. We're not just looking for jobs for the sake of just looking for jobs. No. You know, there are things that at an organizational level, we always talk about values. Organizations have values and so forth. And then one of the things that as a caveat to this is that we are saying right now, the conversation that is going, all places are toxic, what have you. One of the reasons is that sometimes our personal values are not in alignment with the values of the organizations. That's why we would sometimes experience the conflict.
So there's no one who's wrong.
Because there's really no one. There's a misalignment. Yeah. And now because it's not sitting well with you, no, because there are certain environments that will best cater to you and to your needs.
Actually, that means I would be the one who's wrong because I didn't do my research in terms of this organization and what it offers.
But then there are other things, that organizations, where I'm not saying that entirely, but misalignment of values, that's one of the things that I'm seeing a lot that's prevalent. Yeah.
Okay.
So because that then talks to what it is that you're able to do, what you are not able to do in terms of the etiquette principles that you're able to apply and align yourself to. Yeah.
Dope. So I want to go away what I want. I want to go, if the
culture allows, then you can do that.
You can do that as long as it speaks to the culture.
Exactly.
So you have to know what the culture is.
Yes.
I think that's actually a big thing because even when you look at it globally, like Fortune 500 companies, organizational culture is huge.
Exactly.
You can have the skill set, you can be whatever, but if you don't fit into the culture, then you're not going to be in the company.
Or
you won't last in the company.
Yeah.
True. So then there's another aspect of, I think we talked about it actually before we started rolling.
Okay.
We were talking about, there's people that I can say I'm a straight shooter. I'm just a straight shooter. And then I get myself in trouble. Or I'm somebody that, or the opposite. And then I don't actually express my feelings and emotions in an organizational setup. And then I feel like, I'm never heard, there's not this, there's not that. How then do people address this? Because I think it still ties to some of what you were saying here.
I think one of the things that I realized about image management as I was learning it is that most of the time we would think it is how we look externally. But image management for me, it's a representation of who you, especially what have you envisaged about yourself, or what do you see about yourself as it translates then, because what you do externally is going to give expression to what it is that you already have in your head. So it then requires of you to understand you in terms of how you are wired and how you naturally function. I hope you're able to follow me.
So we're
so
following.
Image is a picture. Image is how you envisage your life and how now you then show up in terms of how you go about doing whatever it is, that because it will take expression in terms of how you look, the kind of works that you will be or that you will gravitate towards, and so forth. Keyword that I mentioned is how you are wired as well. Because how you're wired will also speak to what it is that you're naturally inclined to. So as you're saying, straight shooter, as a person who would be wired in such a way that when they hear things, they have that urge to respond. And sometimes not necessarily having had the time to actually ponder on what it was that was said. So you find that that person would have to then learn, okay, fine. At this point in time, do I need to take a pause and be able to, stop and think about how I want to respond? Because it's not just reaction that is required from you.
Yes.
At the end of the day, you may respond and not be pleased with the way that you responded because there's a lot at stake. You may say things that you didn't intend to say. And it's very important also how you are wired. How are you wired emotionally? Because sometimes some of
She's
us...
going deep.
Sometimes some of us don't recognize that we will then start shooting immediately because now you have triggered something within me or you have reminded me of something.
Yeah.
I had told myself like this. And because it is an emotional connotation for you, then you find that because you haven't learned to self-regulate and self-manage, so now then your mouth just spits. Wow, and that sort of thing. So it's very important to learn. So if at all, when people say certain kind of things, I need to learn tactfulness because yes, you may be tactless, but then you may need to learn tactfulness. So that takes time, obviously. And then on the other side of the spectrum is people who just hold it in. Others will show you the emotions raw as they come and so forth. Is it always the best course of action? Not necessarily. It's good that they get the things out of the lungs, but the damage that could be done could be irreversible.
True.
And then for the people that now are not able to air out when it's very important for them to also learn that that's not a healthy way of doing things. We do need to know when you are not happy because or else we will continue repeating the things that we have done because we are not alive to the fact that they are actually hurting you because we don't know. We're not able to read your mind. So it's very important for one to be mindful of such. And it's not easy. I've come to learn that. I didn't know. It's not everyone who finds it easy for them to share their heart or to share when things because I've learned for such kind of people that usually even when they are hurt about it, they think about other people instead of them. And I'm like, how do you do that? No way. You need to be able to think you are being hurt and so forth. So I think it's in also encouraging people because as you work with other people, you get to realize who is who, how one is or how you are and so forth. So I think one of the things that I love about organizational dynamics and team effectiveness or team dynamics is that we realize that we're different, but in our differences, we complement one another. So where you're weak, I'm strong, perhaps I might be strong, and where you're strong, I might be weak. So it's for us to recognize that and then say, okay, fine, let me be my brother's or my sister's keeper. Let me help the other party. It's not time for us to be victimizing other people based on their weaknesses or their, but instead it's to support one another.
And to grow.
And to grow together, obviously.
So you took us somewhere. You said we need to understand how we're wired. And this is individual work. I mean, nobody can do it for you because you have to understand who you are at your core. That's deep. And then you spoke about image management being something you have to envision who you want to be and then act it out. The way I'm hearing you say it is that you are playing what you're seeing. So when I come and interact with you at work, I envision who I want to be in every situation. And I say, okay, this is who I want to be and this is how I want to react and this is how I want to move. That means this is also work that has to be done beforehand. That's done continuously, that I need to play this. I wanted to come to this point because you spoke about showing up as different. There's somebody who shows up. There's a different you that shows up for different things. So do you then create that vision for all these other aspects of your life. Meaning that when you're home, you're now in wife mode. When you're at work, you're now in this mode. When you're, on Sunday with your home goals, you're now in that mode. How does someone start to build? How does someone start to build that mental framework and vision of who they want to be?
Okay.
And make it congruent? Because this maybe totally different characters that how do you, I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say.
I do understand.
Yes.
And point of correction, I didn't mean that you are different kinds of people.
Yes.
Like for instance, take Godlesong, Loko Pating, would you react and be the same?
No, not at all.
Exactly. That's what I meant.
Yes.
Not I'm going to be different people. It's just that the environment dictates that you show up in a different way. Not that you become a different character, personality, or what. No.
Beautiful. Cool.
Yes, I get it. So, it's a no, it's for you to have an appreciation of, okay, when I'm in this kind of environment, the environment by its nature requires of me to compose myself in this way. Not hore, it's calling me to be, if at all I'm extroverted, for me to be introverted now. No. It's maybe an issue of, okay, fine, yeah, we know that you're loud, but in this space, because we are also respecting the space and the other people that we are sharing the space with, you need to tone down. That's in essence what we're saying.
Cool.
Yes.
Okay.
Not what you need to switch. No, biopella, no.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
So I think that has clarified the question I get. So at its core, we are supposed to be just one person, or else you'll confuse even you. The issue is when you understand who you are, then you're able to say, oh, okay, so I'm like this and I enjoy certain environments. I enjoy certain kinds of people's company. I enjoy certain kind of work. I enjoy, or rather, I show up in this way. This enthuses me. This takes, or drains my energy and so forth. So you're able to see, oh, this is how I am wired, meaning this is how I naturally operate. You are able to see your natural flow. And that is something that I think most of us do not take. We are not mindful of. We're not mindful of. And that is why sometimes some people don't succeed in certain organizations or certain jobs or certain things, because how you're wired dictates the things that you can do and cannot do. You see? Yeah. And that it's your responsibility to know how you're wired, as you say. And it starts with you paying attention to you. Because sometimes I think we live in a world that is so noisy. That is after our attention, and sometimes we don't give us the necessary attention that we require to be able to reach the great strides, to make the kind of strides that we rather would like to have. So, no. I really want to delve much deeper into this, but I'm like, okay, let me stop there. So it takes you being mindful. Okay, and as I go through life, don't be on autopilot. As you go through life, as you have certain experiences, take cues, because it's information that is being thrown at you.
The good and the bad.
Both, because at the end of the day, it's feedback to you, and you're able to take the information. It's still raw. You need to be able to make sense of it. It becomes knowledge. And then comprehension needs to come into play in terms of, as I'm comprehending this information, this knowledge that I've gained about myself, what does it mean for me? And then, how to comprehend that information, that knowledge that you have gained about yourself. Then you're able to say, oh, because I'm like this, I'm able to do this. I'm able to do work that, allows me to speak to people because I like engaging. I can see that that's me. I like me speaking with people drains me.
You're done.
I mean,
yeah.
There's no synergy. There's no
True.
relationship in there. That's why now some people, that work drains them. That's why Blue Mondays come into play and so forth.
True.
Why? Because you're not listening to how you're wired. You haven't figured out how you're wired. So
beautiful. So we spoke about a lot of things. I remember vividly when we spoke about, the different heads that we show up in. I want us to come to this point in terms of the image that we're portraying to the world, because I think we covered abundantly that we have to be very proactive with how we build it and how we're showing up.
Yeah.
What happens when we fumble the bag? When we fumble the image? So maybe maybe I have an outburst, whatever it may be. How then do I start to rebuild? Because I'm reading this book, Robert Greene, 48 Laws of Power. I think it's the 5th law. It says, guard your reputation with your life. Even the Bible says it. A good name is better than silver and gold. And so image is inherently our reputation. How? Because I know it's I know it's suicide, but there's people that have, they've come back.
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome. I think for me as a human, we know to err is part of, our nature. But it's very important to be mindful that some people can be so unforgiving. But it's very important for you to forgive yourself for whatever it is that you may have done. And I've noticed that as humans, our brains can be tricked, for lack of a better way to express it.
Yes.
So when you have messed up, people are not always prying, okay, fine, no, now they're down for what have you. They continue with their own lives and so forth. So it's then your assignment, or it's incumbent upon you to make sure that you do the necessary work to be able to reposition yourself in the minds of people. Because you will be known for that thing, but the more you do certain things that are positive, they will override. Yeah, so that's how you can do it. So for me, I would encourage a person not to stay hung up on the thing that they did that put them in a bad light, but to continue doing now the good that's why there's negative PR or positive PR. This is where now we do a lot of good PR.
Yes.
You start focusing more on things that help position you in a good light before people. Perception is everything in this world. And that's why, for me as a person who helps people communicate well with their clothing and other aspects of, the exterior. I tell people that clothing it's not just in fashion, just pieces of material. No, these are tools of communication. So you
deep.
are,
I'm going to steal that.
you are able to use all these facets. That's why you are able to find a way around them. So do enough good, not enough good just to get by. No, because yes, you were remorseful for the whatever it is that you did and so forth. But at the end of the day, what is it that you want to be known for in the minds and the hearts of the people? Because at the end of the day, there are people who are daily dragging their reputations in the mud. Some don't know, some are aware, they could care less. At least they don't need people to buy things from them, I don't know. But for some of us who want people's patronage, we know that there's a certain way that we would need to engage and position ourselves with before people, because at the end of the day, we want to appeal. Wa bona? Ra itse hala lo rona ha re nna re ntse re bona mo go nna le mo distolong ha stolo se sentseng kete wa heta. So it's your choice gore a ne o batla go hitiwa kana o batla gore batho ba eme ha go wena. Yeah. And then before people even know the quality of the things that the stall offers, what would have attracted them to that stall? It's how the stall looks. You see, that's also speaking to reputation. Because sometimes before people actually experience us in terms of the core, the things that are superficial, don't take them lightly. Because sometimes we have that thing, there are people who don't care about your deepness before.
They don't carry X-rays.
They're not X-raying thing. So you need appeal in a good way. Right. Is very important. I think I've already dealt with the reputation thing.
Yeah.
But appeal is very important because in order for people to buy into your services, buy into whatever it is that you're offering, they need to buy into you. And what do they appeal is what gets them close to you.
And right on this topic of appeal,
yeah.
I want to take it further. You, an international speaker. You've appealed to Mahatma twang over there. Is there any work that you did that now had the ability to have international appeal? Speaking of appeal, and I want to put you on the spot. so you can help us with that area.
I'm an international speaker because I've spoken at an international organization. I haven't gone out yet.
Yes,
I'm coming.
But still,
I'm going there.
You're still seen there.
So it's because of the work that I have put out and the work that I continuously produce. So that's why I get an appeal. It's very important.
I want to know if there's a difference between your national appeal and your international. Did you have to now say, okay, now for me to, I have to kind of position myself this way? Was there a shift? Was there anything? Or it was just a culmination of the work that you have been doing?
I believe it has been a culmination of the work that I've been doing, because at the end of the day, one of the things that I've recognized is that different clients are attracted or, are called by different things that you do. So I think for me, it's really been a question of how do I want to serve? And then that's how it dictates how I then position myself. Because it's not every opportunity that's out there that I want. There's certain kinds of opportunities that I want. And I've learned over the years that when I position myself and I put myself out there in a certain way, I've seen it attract the kind of caliber of clients that I want. And
no, I did this. Just one or two tips.
It's really about the work that you produce. Like, for instance, I am in the human capital space, in the personal branding space, in the image management training and so forth. So I put out content and I try to ensure that it is quality content. So I need to be abreast with what it is that I'm talking about and to be able to ensure on what I'm delivering value. So that takes time on my end, because, there's an analogy that Ntokozo, the singer, I gave. Mambo. So she once came to our church. She was a guest musician. So, as a singer, and that she gave this analogy, it was for praise and worship. But for me, I took it and I was like, it affects us. She was like, sometimes you are doing something, whatever it is, career or what have you, and you're still chewing and you want to go and deliver. How does that look like? So that taught me the importance of putting in the work. So chewing until you have things, so that when you go and deliver, it serenades whoever is going to be the recipient of whatever it is that they remain in awe. So, and that is something that I still endeavor to do that. It's something that I've continuously challenged myself to be good at what it is that I do. And that takes work. I tell people that I did not like reading. And it's a fact, I didn't.
Yeah.
Now, do I like reading? but I read.
Yeah.
Because I understand its importance.
It's necessary.
So there are certain things that I do, not because I like them, but I've seen the importance in my life. More so given what it is that I want to do in this life and how I want and what I want to be known for and the kind of value that I want to give.
Cool.
So it's that. Ensuring that I offer quality content. I work on myself in terms of just ensuring that my levels of competence in my area are continuously upgrading. So that means being well-read in my space of function. So that is, and then also networking in not in a way along gore ke a di-functioning hela e le gore o itse gore ke batla go bona e be ke nnetse go neela batho di-business card. No, subtly. Hela gore you are part of bodies tse leng gore you are involved in and so forth. And you show up. You are helpful. You are resourceful. That's what I do, and that's how I've positioned myself. Boy, am I getting opportunities. So it's not about just getting. Well, such kind of things. What value are you adding, even if it's unpaid, in things that you are not necessarily paid for? Because people are noticing, people are looking.
But it's strategic.
Very strategic, yes. Sometimes even if it's not strategic, because you never know really.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've learned to wear this hat or everything that I do, let it leave a certain experience. Let someone experience me in a way it would leave them longing for more of Nonofo.
Dope. Yes. No, lovely. So these spaces that you operate in are very intertwined. Personal branding, business etiquette, money, all of this is very intertwined, and it makes sense. Because
that's how I actually got into it. Because I was looking at a person holistically. Yeah.
They're very intertwined.
Yeah.
So this is my question for you. Say I'm looking for an opportunity. You spoke about, rona ba e leng gore we're looking for people's patronage. We have to know how we show up, how we do things. How do we ask for things properly? Without, how do you ask for something, for an opportunity, for a job, for anything? Do you have a way or a framework that you can just give us that's general? That you can say, if you're looking for something, this affects everything. People want a raise in a company. People want all these things. How you ask for it determines a lot about what you're getting, outside of just the skill set and all that. How then does someone ask for things sync?
Okay. I think for me, what I saw from my own personal experience was before asking, I would acquaint myself with the needs. What are the needs of the other party along what I'm looking for something from them? How then do I position myself to be of great help to them? And as I am positioning myself to solve the issues and so forth, I am positioning myself as a solution provider, as a solutionist, I would say. And because a person is able to see, again, this person is well-vested, because it's either you look at it this way, are you an eel to suck, or are you, I don't know which animal I would use, but one that gives.
That gives, yeah.
So for me, the approach has been to, how can I add value so that when we are creating value for this establishment, when it makes a hit, when it is blessed as well, then other blessings will come to me because I've done this, or because I'm building a strong case for me to go and negotiate. Or, okay, fine, this is what I've been doing for the company, or this is what I've been doing, and this is how the company has benefited from me showing up in this way. So I believe it's for me to, may you kindly, on this basis, kindly consider, adding or rather raising my pay and so forth, or giving me this kind of opportunities. Because why? I've shown interest in helping the company move forward. And I've shown interest in also maybe the other person's life going forward and so forth. I think one of the things that we don't do that strategy. You see, that's a strategic move in terms of how I've coined it that. But the reality on the ground is that we have our own interests at heart, not the interests of the business or the other people. So you find that now we come with that mentality of getting. And that sometimes doesn't land well with people.
Right.
Right. So I say to people, okay, fine, because you're not even adding any value. And I'm not even seeing the use of you here. Why not show why and you still have more to deliver? So I see a future with this person. So it would also be thinking for them, it would encourage them to incentivize you because they're seeing more, that you have a vested interest in them or even in the business.
Cool.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And then the other part of it would be, how then does somebody approach sticky situations? Say you and I are co-workers, and then and because I know my image, I know how to know. I don't have to blast out. I don't have to do whatever. Okay, I take a step back, and I'm like, okay, because I'm angry right now, let me address this later on. Then later on, I want to come to you and tell you this, especially maybe if you are my superior. How would you advise about going around such a situation?
Approach is something that I've come to learn is very important. Not all of us are conversant with how to go about that. And I think I've come to appreciate that people are good-natured to a large extent. So people, when you approach them and you're in a calm state and so forth, people are able to hear you out. As you said, at least you would have taken the time to collect yourself and so forth, So I think approaching the other party and share with them, when you said this earlier, speak to how it made you feel. Because don't come with an attacking tone and making it about how they are wrong, what. No. Speak to how the situation made you feel and what it, or rather how it sat with you, So that way a person is able to
understand the other perspective.
Empathize. Yeah, they're able to empathize and also sympathize with you. So because that way then they're able to say, oh, okay, fine. No, I might not have seen it that way, but because it was your experience and, you're entitled to feel however you are, so it's important for us to recognize, okay, fine, our emotions are valid, however we may feel, because we don't know how things land with different kinds of people. But it is very important to watch our tone and our approach as we deliver the message to the next party. So that also we seek for consideration and appropriateness when a person, navigates that kind of situation the next time.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense. And so I wanted to give you a scenario. Say I am pitching to investors, or I'm going to have a very important meeting. And I really want to show up in the best way because the more things I have checked on my end, the better the experience will be, and the better everything will take place from there. So what are some of the things that I should probably look out for? Just from dress all the way to how I speak. I know we normally talk about, having a firm handshake, looking people in the eye, laughing here and there, not too much. So what are some of those just one or two things maybe off the top of your mind that somebody can really say, okay, I need to look out for that and this and this and that.
Yes. Obviously, first impressions count. So you don't want to mark yourself low, eat away from the important things, in terms of when people meet you the first time, you want to make that impression so that a person feels that, okay, I want to have a conversation with this person. So obviously take care of the exterior. Ensure that you're smelling well, good, that is. So any odors, even perfumes, ensure that they're moderate, they're not too overbearing and so forth, because sometimes you can go overboard. Other people can then go under, So it's very important for you to be. And then for us who wear makeup, obviously, just let's do moderate, that
what do they
sort
call
of thing.
Demure. Did I use it right?
Demure. So there's that. And then what's in it for the investor or whoever it is, that your audience, know that time is money, that time is of most value, or rather of essence. Time is of essence with them. So you want to position, or rather prepare your pitch deck in such a way that it drives home the point that you want to bring before them. So know your facts, or rather know whatever it is that you want to come and present about.
Right.
So do your homework, in essence, before you come and stand before people. Because they're going to ask you questions for sure. If you want money from my pocket, I'm going to ask you questions because I need to understand what it is that you're selling to me and what it is that you want out of me. So be prepared to be able to speak to whatever it is that you have put together. Obviously, sometimes you might not be able to cover the everything.
True.
But do your homework, especially financial projections. What have you? People are putting money into. You're asking people to put money into your venture, so they want to know if at all there is there's a return on their investment. So it's very important for you to be able to speak to such. Sometimes, yes, we know that some of us are not financially, in tune like that. So it may require you to pitch, or rather have a partner who's able to help you with such. So it's you knowing how you need to prepare in order for you not to waste people's time and to be able to sell yourself and your value. Because at the end of the day, if you have put something together and you have gone through it, because I tell people proving your concept before selling it to another person is very important. Do it until it becomes one with you, so that then you are able to articulate it before people who are external, or an external audience to you. Because sometimes we don't do that homework ourselves. So then when people start asking us questions, everything flies out the window. Because you didn't do the necessary.
I'll come back to you.
Let's skip that. So you need to do a lot of work, underground work, foundational work before you actually reach out to people. And I would actually encourage people to do the work before they actually look for serious people. Do it with family, do it with friends, whatever, until you get to a place where you feel you're also comfortable, And start small. Ana go tse dingwe wa bana stress se ne re bua ka sona gore nako tse dingwe o taba go batla go go nna le di palpitations, di panic attack tse dingwe ana tse wa bana. So but you are able to pace yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. So do step by step things.
Right.
But do your groundwork. Okay. I think that's something that we don't do enough of. But market research, we don't. I've passed there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm one of the culprits.
Yes.
I've been learning as I've gone along. So yes.
No, okay. Cool. Wanna tell Okay. So you mentioned something earlier. We actually had this conversation where we were talking about different aspects of I'm building towards this. Say this is my passion. I'm doing this as my passion. I don't know if this is actually going to tie into the whole image and personal branding and what we're talking about today, but I could not live without asking this question. So where you have a passion, and then sometimes it might not meet the money needs of living and sustaining everything that you do. I'm asking you now, as in the position of a business, how do you learn how to say, okay, where do we establish that balance, and what do we do? I want to do this, but I don't know if it'll make me money now, and all those kind of things.
So one of the things that I have learned over the years that is important as we are pursuing our life's work and just having an appreciation of who we are and finding work that helps us to give expression of our truest, our talents or our giftings is that as you do work, be on the lookout of doing work that actually serves other people and other people are willing to remunerate you for that work. And when your passion is not able to translate into work that solves people's issues and they're not willing to solve rather to pay you, we may need to go back to the drawing board.
So it's just a hobby now.
Because it might be a hobby indeed, but we have seen, though, that there are passions where now you are able to grow and capacitate yourself to a place where you are able to now start offering value that can be paid for by other people. Because one of the things that you need to know about going on this journey is that you need to do the communicating of the value to other people, because sometimes people don't know that you are actually offering something that is worthwhile or that is worth their money, or something that is able to solve their problems. So you find that people have brilliant ideas or have passion projects and so forth, but what work are they doing to put it in front of the right people? That is why, I just spoke about market research. That is important because some people have passions that they have not explored in the sense of taking it out to the market, so that the market will tell you in terms of when you see the reception. If there's no reception, there is reception. So the thing about work also is that different areas of work. There's a job. You can have a job, it is to cater to your livelihood, to pay the bills and so forth. But it is something that you're willing to pursue and make it a career. You see, that is a starting point. It's your launching pad,
right?
Isn't it? So, and then a career, again, this is something that I want to pursue. This is something that I'm willing to invest my time, invest my resources, invest my being into this thing to make it something. And then it may satisfy some of the things, might not satisfy everything.
Right.
And then we have a calling. Where now sweet spot. It's paying the bills. It's doing everything. And most of the time, it doesn't start lucrative. You build towards that.
Yeah.
But you may find that sometimes people are in careers that are not ticking all the boxes. But in terms of the money box, it's ticking. Now, in terms of gratification, fulfillment, it might not be. The choice is whose? Yours. At the end of the day.
Hey,
you
put it job, career, calling.
Yeah.
And the church said amen.
Amen.
My last question for you is how do you want to be remembered as Nonofo Jesse?
Oh, the legacy question.
Yes.
I want to be remembered as a person who gave her all. You know, the Bible says about David that he served his purpose in his generation, meaning that David did what he was supposed to do in his generation. So when he went 6 feet under, he had done everything, got a kingship, whatever, he had ruled and done that. So there are certain spaces that I want to be in the image space, or rather in the social human development space. I want to be known as a mohaka or as a trailblazer in that space, having transformed, having catapulted, having propelled people to greatness in that space.
Yeah. Hey. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you just heard all of it. You just heard all of it. And if you've watched up to this point, kindly give this video a like, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you follow Nonofo Jessie. All her links will be below, and interact with her work. You will not be disappointed. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we'll meet same time, same place next week. Be great. Thank you guys for watching this episode. We really hope you enjoyed it and learned something new. Deep Dive is dedicated to bringing you the most comprehensive and engaging information about business, personal finance, and personal development. Make sure to hit that subscribe button to stay updated with all our latest content. If you like this video, give it a like to show your support and help us reach a wider audience. And don't forget to share this video with your friends and your family who may be interested. Sharing helps us grow our community and connect with like-minded individuals. Leave a comment below and give us your biggest takeaway on this episode. If you're interested in being a part of our live studio audiences, make sure to register for the next show. Can't make it to the show? No problem. Check out our Patreon page to watch the full episode and get exclusive access. Thank you guys for watching this episode. We really hope you enjoyed it and learned something new. Deep Dive is dedicated to bringing you the most comprehensive and